All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2026 Extraordinary General Meeting for British Obstacle Sports. We're so glad you can join us. My name is James Burton. I am the chair and the president of British Obstacle Sports, yeah, and I will chair today's EGM. Before we get started, I will run through a few technical considerations with everyone. Uh, we record everyone who attends. Indeed, we need to have 30 members present for quorum. So please introduce yourself in the chat. Let everyone know your full name. That's really important. And if you're with anyone who's with you, another member, please add their names as well so we can record everyone in the minutes. Don't forget, uh, so I've said that. We're gonna go for about 2 hours. It might be a bit quicker. I know everyone's given up their Monday evening, so thank you for giving up your time. We'll go through as quickly as we can. We've got some updates. There's kind of formal business that we need everyone to be present for, and then after that is adjournment. If you do have to drop out, completely understand. We'll just give some kind of general updates, and then if we get past 8:15 what I will do is I will ensure we have the final vote of the EGM so we can actually declare that with everyone on the call, essentially. Uh, Please mute yourself when you're not talking, but equally, when you do want to raise a question, feel free to ask as well, and just don't have to type in the chat. You can raise the questions. I might ask Becky actually if you do see anyone in the chat that asks a question, feel free just to jump in and ask it. If you have any issues, we've got uh, our email address membership@britishobstacle.org. If for whatever reason you can't get on or you're having issues with voting, you can email membership@britishobstacle.org. And we have Sean Gallup Brooks on the line here who will kind of help you with that. And you can also message in the chat, and Sean will be able to message you direct. I think we have Sean on. Just give us a comment or a hi if you're on, Sean. I think I saw you join.
Yeah, I'm on, James.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for your help there. And then Tim Crangle's kindly ensuring we have everyone recorded from a attendance perspective. So you can always message Tim if you're arriving or want to share kind of names of who's joining. So finally, we are recording. This content will go out onto YouTube probably tomorrow or maybe Wednesday to share for any other members who aren't here today. All right. Our quorum is 30 members. We were actually just talking before we started that we might make a suggestion to change that only because everyone votes before and then almost people might not feel that they need to join. So we might look at that in the future. But our quorum is 30 members currently, so it's really important that we have all the attendees here today. So thank you. But I can report we have more than 30 members present. Therefore, quorum is met and we can begin our EGM. So today I'll give a quick welcome and a quick update on some British obstacle sports business. We will then go into the EGM resolutions. We just have two EGM resolutions, including the important kind of international integration. So we'll have a bit of a Q&A there. We have been organising some meetings for about the last 2 weeks. So some people may have heard some of this information, but I will repeat it, and it is valuable for people that will watch back as well. Feel free to ask any questions. It is important that your voice is heard. So if you feel you want something to be recorded in the minutes, even if you've mentioned it before, feel free to raise it. You have a concern, anything you want. We are open to that feedback, and it's important that our members' views are communicated at an international level as well. And we'll certainly be here to do that as a British Obstacle Sports board. We then have some appointments to update you on, and we have a life membership to announce as well. And then, as I say, that will be the formal business completed, and we will then go into some committee updates, national team update, and a general Q&A. And then, as I say, we will look to formally declare the EGM results. I always cover this up front, just in terms of our mission. Our mission is to ensure everyone in the UK can enjoy the endless possibilities of obstacle sports. We are blessed with an incredible sport that is so varied and so exciting and so many different formats. And I think this is why we have so many people that enjoy the sport, both at a participation level, maybe just as a one-off Tough Mudder every year, through to competing internationally. And that can be from a 100-meter event through to a 24-hour event. And both the spectrums of our sport, from ninja sport through to obstacle course racing. So this is something that we always view through any lens when we're working on any decisions as a board. And this is certainly from an international integration perspective. We've really held it through this lens and really kind of critically assessed um, the right decision to move forward.
James, can I
Becky?
just interrupt for a moment to check the waiting room? I think there might be a couple of extra people.
Tim, are you able just to add those in?
Thank you.
I think they're in, aren't they?
Yeah,
Perfect.
should be.
Great. Thank you very much. Oh, we are 100% volunteer led, as everyone knows, and that's an incredible effort. Many of Rome are represented on the call today. So thank you to all the volunteers for giving up their time to support in British obstacle sports. It's not easy. It's a lot of hard work, and with both competing and taking part as a participant and athlete through to just the day job and family life, etc. It does take up a lot of effort, but it's clear that we've got a really committed group of people, and again, we wouldn't be able to be where we are today without everyone who's committed their volunteer time to the sport. And tied to that, did want to announce tonight two board resignations. We've had Honor actually since the start. Honor founded British Obstacle Sports back in 2019, and he stood down for personal reasons, just to focus on the day job and work. And similarly, Professor Mike Loosemore has been on our board pretty much since the beginning as well. He can stay on actually, Mike, as our medical advisor, but again, just from a time perspective, he represents um, many sporting organizations, and especially within boxing at an Olympic level, and just time commitment, he hasn't been able to kind of commit any further time. So incredibly grateful for their volunteer time up to this point, and I'm sure we'll be staying in touch with both of them in the future. And same with committee members. We've we've had support, and this is just since our last AGM. Some committee members that have not necessarily left. Actually, the first three have just stepped down from different roles. So Megan Tranter, who's still involved from an OCR technical committee perspective, stepped down from the championship organising committee. Jamie, as his fantastic national team captain for OCR last year, and just as tradition, has stepped down as team captain. We have Joe, who was involved with a number of committees and still is our chair for the technical officials committee, but has stepped down from a number of other areas. And we have Chris Edwards on the coach development committee, who has gave up some time last year from a coaching perspective. And finally, Fergal Keeney, who for a number of years managed all the leagues from a series points perspective, and again, just time commitments, has stepped down from the role. We're lucky that we've always got people stepping in and taking on roles. And again, thank you for everyone who's stepped in to different committees and roles since the last AGM as well. And indeed, thank you to all our members for your support. We couldn't do this without you, and we are a membership-led organisation. So it really goes without saying that your commitment is paramount to the sport. And without our members engaging and committing, both just from a basic membership perspective, but being out there and competing and taking part in the sport, our sport wouldn't exist from a national governing body point of view. So thank you again for all your support. We are in a healthy financial position. It's something the board has taken. So I'm just going to see a couple more people to add. We're in a healthy financial position. It's something the board has worked hard to ensure we have a reserve. So we're at the end of this financial year, we probably will be in excess of 10,000 from a financial point of view in terms of our reserve. So that's money we can draw on in the future should we need it for any requirement. We are aiming to work towards 20,000 as a kind of a strong reserve, and that's to cover any unforeseen circumstances. Uh, that's quite common, and again, just good practice from a governing body perspective. But we do have big ambitions. We want to grow the sport in the UK, and if you haven't seen our strategic plan, it's got big ambitions for the sport to be growing it into every part of the UK, to be getting it into schools, into colleges, into universities, to be growing both the participation side and the competitive side. So this is probably a little bit of a call to arms as we're kind of starting to go into the next stage of our evolution as an organization, and we'll talk about the kind of recognition process later, that we need to continue to get your support. Um, and just some of the examples of kind of some of the things that we're doing right now, which just kind of gives you an eye for where the future lies. Uh, the we've just started and launched a bit of a pilot from an obstacle sports coaching perspective. We've been running a course for a number of years, actually since 2020, but through the work of the Coach Development Committee, primarily led by Teresa, who is our Coach Development Chair, and supported by people like Dave Peters and Beth Lodge and Tim and others on that Coach Development Committee. We now have a combined obstacle sports coaching course at level one. So this is combined for Ninja and OCR, and then there'll be further developments into OCR and Ninja at a later point. And this is kind of taken what we had already and just taking it up that next level. And again, this is going to be incredibly important to have that quality of coaching within the sport to take the sport forward in the future. So credit to the team. Stay tuned for more of coaching courses being announced, both at level one and a level two in the future. And as I say, we've got that pilot actually this weekend on the Saturday. Um, which will bring, I believe, about 10 new coaches at a level one into the sport. And then we have a great initiative, which is with Pentathlon GB and Youth Sport Trust called Obstacle Explorers. This is a program that's going to go out to across primary schools. So actually any primary school in the country could get access to this material. There'll be 500 founding schools that will have access to printed material like cards. And it is relatively basic games that they can play with an obstacle theme, and they've looked through our rule book and the different types of challenges you get in obstacle sports to build the program for primary school children. A pilot last year that was again really successful, and now that's being taken forward this year. So stay tuned for those updates. And again, it's just a taste for things to come in the future of where we want to try and grow the sport and get more people involved beyond what was traditionally a brand-led sport, as you know, from 2010, 2011, 2012. It grew as a brand-led sport, and now we're bringing in the national governing body element to see how we can take that sport into areas that maybe brands wouldn't be so focused on. And just that in mind, we have 52 True Cost subscribers. So this is something that we introduced in 2024. It's effectively a membership which is higher for, we're just to be clear, and it's £5 a month rather than approximately £1 a month for our membership. It's really important to us that we don't increase our standard membership cost beyond kind of a level which is really affordable. As I say, our membership right now today is £16, but at the same point and by the same note, we need to have funds to be able to develop and grow our sport. So the true cost subscription is definitely something, if you can afford it, to consider, because it really helps to support what we're trying to do as an organization. So just wanted to give a shout out to all our true cost subscribers as I click through. We've got 52 subscribers, and again, just paying a little bit more just to really help the development of the sport. So uh, who's who of obstacle sports in here? Some great, and yeah, finishing off with our team captain for this year, Andrew Durrant. Now, we know not everyone can afford, or equally people are giving in other ways. So actually, first and foremost, please keep renewing your membership. It's £16 a year, which we think is really good value, and also again is supporting a not-for-profit national governing body. Keep spreading the word. I always kind of say like you every share in a post, every comment in a post really does make a difference to growing the sport. And if you can volunteer your time as well, like so many are doing, that could be at a national governing body level. Equally, it could be at an event level as well. And we've got a great partnership group who have been supporting us, and we've everyone is actually Towergate. They've just rebranded. I think Nick might be on the call, but just to let you know that Towergate, our insurance partner, official insurance partner, rebranded as Everyone. And we've recently added Nine Ashes Accounting. Actually, Alex Young, who is our treasurer, has been our treasurer for a number of years and volunteered a lot of time. But we've just formalized that process because he runs his own accounting firm now, and that's massive value to the organization to effectively get free accountancy support. So thank you to Alex to keeping our finances in order and running our accounts every year and submitting them to Companies House. EGM resolutions. So I was just going to get my notes, sorry, because I want to make sure we cover all the key points. So yeah, it's a formal process. So I want to make sure we follow the correct procedures here. Thank you for your patience while we run through. Also, thank you for the time for reviewing all the material up to now. I know a number of people have joined calls and asked questions and really engaged with the process, so I really appreciate that. We understand something might be confusing. Please just ask questions via the chat or by unmuting when asked. So there's just two re resolutions. It's an EGM. So really the main topic was resolution two, but we felt it was good practice just to get our minutes approved as we were meeting as a team. And voting procedures. So all eligible members have been sent ballot details to your registered email address in order to vote. This is the only way to vote. We only have digital voting. So, and then also once your ballot is cast, it cannot be changed. So if you're in a position now and you haven't voted, we really would love your vote. You've got a couple of options essentially. Option number one, you should have been sent a email to your registered email address again in order to vote, and that will just simply contain a link and you can go through and vote. If you can't find that, you're having any issues, you can contact Sean in the chat or you can message membership@britishobstacle.org, and we've got just under an hour to cast your vote essentially, and Sean will be able to grab you a link and send that to you to be able to vote before 8:15 p.m. And again, after 8:15 p.m., the vote will be closed, so you won't be able to vote. So resolution one, the 2025 annual general meeting minutes were sent to all members in advance of this meeting via the election run and voting service. They're also available on our governance page and our AGM pages, EGM page on our website. Are there any questions, comments, or corrections?
Just a reminder, if your name's just your first name, can you enter the full name in the chat?
Great. That's actually very pertinent, Tim, just to the minutes. So if you can see in small here, we've got voting members. So we record this information, but it's some people will join without their full name and we just can't capture who you are. So we really want to make sure your names and details are captured in the minutes. One, we need it for quorum, but also the second part is just good for kind of archival purposes that we record everyone. So yes, please share your full name in the minutes. And again, if you're with anyone in the room who's a member, please share their details as well. Okay, so resolution two, I'm going to give a bit of background here as well, but just to outline what the vote is. And again, we shared information related to this via the voting service Election Runner. It's also on our EGM page on our website, which included kind of Congress book and the information around this vote and also the board's position. But Resolution 2 is members of British Obstacle Sports authorise the board to exercise its vote at the World Obstacle Congress in favour of the proposed dissolution of World Obstacle with effect from 100 hours midnight. I'm never quite sure how to say that. On August 10th, 2026. In the event that Congress approves the dissolution of FISO, British Obstacle Sport shall, with the effect of midnight, August 10th, 2026, become a Union International de Pentathlon (UIPM) member candidate in accordance with the transition arrangements set out in the FISO Congress motion. So this was just to take a step back why we are here from a boss perspective and why we are voting on this is at the AGM in 2025, we voted 96.15% in favour of this motion, which authorised the board essentially to be working with FISO and discussing with UIPM effectively what an integration would look like between FISO and UIPM. This has been something that's been discussed since the memorandum of understanding that was signed between those organisations in 2023, and it was important to us that we actually ensured that if this was going to happen, that there was a good outcome for our sports. And the main kind of 3 points you can see here: independence as distinct sports within the UIPM structure, representation at a board level, the international federation resulting from the integration must really preserve that identity of sports within its governance, and primarily OCR and Ninja being important there. And then we also committed to a further vote should we come to a conclusion that these points could be met, and subject to this vote, if obviously we vote in favour of the dissolution of World Obstacle, we would take that to the FISO World Congress. So usually the board would come together and make any decisions at a world level how to vote. But at this point in time, we felt it was so important that it should be a member-led decision on this item. And the board has recommended that our members vote yes in favour of Resolution 2 and authorise British Obstacle Sports to vote for the dissolution of FISO and to proceed with the integration into UIPM. And I'll talk through some of the main reasons, and I'll talk through the principles of integration and how some of the bits we talked about in that AGM vote in 2025 translated into these items. But I think probably just to share the context from a board position of the different options that were on the table. So there was an option to continue with World Obstacle. We felt that as an organisation, World Obstacle, while it has done a lot of good and it's taken our sport to where we are today, wasn't in a position to take us forward into the future. You could argue that organisation could have new leadership, and maybe that in the future could change things. But there's a consideration there as one, that new leadership would probably be voluntary as well. And the second part, there is a significant debt within World Obstacle that wouldn't be passed on to UIPM and wouldn't be passed on to us as national federations. But if that organisation was to continue under new leadership, that would be inherited. So for us, while we all are obstacle sports participants, athletes, and we feel that connection to obstacle, it just didn't make the right sense in this circumstance. The second consideration was an organisation called World OCR. That is a rival international federation to World Obstacle. We, again, from a strategic perspective, did not believe that that was the right solution moving forward. Currently, it has about 8 members. And again, we didn't think that was the right decision for British Obstacle Sports. The final option, not including UIPM, was to create a new international federation. And for us, that was dismissed relatively quickly because that's quite a significant amount of effort and work, as you can imagine. We know how much managing British obstacle sports as a volunteer team takes, and there just wasn't the financial positioning to do that. Now there were the different options available, but I actually also want to kind of point out and maybe I've started probably a bit too much in the negative that we've got a really strong potential with the integration into UIPM with the safeguards that we've discussed that if the board itself wouldn't be comfortable recommending an integration into UIPM if we felt that independence of our sports wasn't going to be maintained, or UIPM, for example, only wanted 100-meter discipline into their sport, into our sport. There's been very clear guideline information and communications from UIPM around the fact that actually all of OCR and Ninja is what we are bringing into the bigger UIPM multi-sport family with this integration. And I think that is really important. It's a wider, extended UIPM multi-sport family with OCR and Ninja being part of that. And just to build on that, these are the principles of international integration that have been discussed and communicated via the Congress book that was shared with national federations. Importantly, the obstacle sports community continues. Dissolution of Pfizer does not dissolve its community, so we're in good standing. We will become a UIPM member candidate on the dissolution of World Obstacle on August 10th. So our transition effectively is managed, and actually this has been something that we've been in discussion with the sports councils in the UK, so we can explain that continued international affiliation, and UIPM actually supported us in that process. And that was important because what we didn't want is this to impact our national recognition process. No forced integrations at a national level. Again, this is important, and we'll talk about this later. And I think it's important for everyone to be aware that UIPM will be encouraging a one sport, one federation model. So they want to work with one federation in each country. It makes sense for them, but it's important that there will be no forced integration. So that needs to be discussed at a national level and also discussed on what is in the best interests of each national federation, including British Obstacle Sports and Pentathlon GB. And importantly, obstacle national federations may be recognised as full independent UIPM members. That needs some work to determine what that looks like in practice, but that is an important kind of agreement that's been communicated. There'll be no barriers to membership. That transition from a member candidate through to potentially becoming a full member, there's that agreement that this isn't you're a member candidate and you'll never get full membership. If you're a good stand-in national federation, that process is feasible and manageable. UIPM released an identity, kind of a respect for obstacle sports identity, and they really do see it as independent sports. OCR and Ninja both have their own cultures, their own formats, their own communities, and we're not becoming pentathlon by this integration. We are becoming part of that multi-sport family. Guaranteed discipline representation. So OCR and Ninja will have an obstacle commission within UIPM that will effectively become an organization group for the sport, and there'll be working groups off of that for OCR and Ninja as well. And there will be FISO community members that will be those initial members. It won't be pentathlon members that will form that obstacle commission. It will be people within the obstacle community. They will also assess transition pathways for other kind of sports that sit underneath FISO. None of those apply to us. So OCR and Ninja is already kind of planned and built into the discipline representation. athlete achievements protected. So all historical results from under FISO will move into UIPM. That now includes what was previously the Adventure OCR World Championships as well. So that's an important announcement that kind of full history back from 2014 all the way up to Ireland this year will transition into UIPM kind of historical records. And there's been work to ensure that existing sanctioned events will transition into kind of under UIPM jurisdiction. So I know, for example, that already the European Ninja Champs, all of that kind of has been worked through, and the Ninja Champs in Czech Republic will be planned and going ahead as planned. Same for Estonia next year. They're working through kind of all the finer details there, but there's no kind of concern around kind of those events. And importantly, like it's not that UIPM take control and say, well, give us a check for X. No, that the existing agreements, so the organisers are kind of have that security and that confidence moving forward. The Obstacle Commission will be working with the Secretariat, and this is a kind of a big difference that there will be a paid staff within UIPM that will help support the Obstacle Commission, and those rules, those formats, that will be overseen by that commission. And that they'll kind of integrate into the various frameworks within UIPM. Coaches and officials, it was important that the existing kind of framework for coaches and officials wasn't lost, and that transfers without kind of additional work into UIPM. There will be a transition process and there will be a kind of a mapping process there. There isn't, for example, currently a coaching course for OCR and Ninja. That's something that I'm hoping actually we can take the lead on, because I think we've probably got one of the leading courses now in that area. And officials wise, there was already been some work to map the two, so I think it will be more easier. But again, we've got the level 1, level 2, level 3. So if you're a level 2 TO, you continue to be a level TO after the transition. And then finally, a phased evolving governance model. So it will start with appointed leadership, the Obstacle Commission. But the aim is for that to be elected representation, which actually we've never had at an international level. We've never had anyone elected. So it is important from a kind of pure long-term democratic process. That would likely be at the next UIPM electoral congress, which is in 2028. But again, that process of people we recognize and know within the obstacle community initially through to an elected committee in the future as well within UIPM. So with this information shared and the other information that was in the Congress book that was communicated to national federations, again, we felt that this is actually something that could work for us. And that is why the board felt comfortable recommending a yes vote to our members. Completely understand the psychological kind of decision there and like why people might vote no in this circumstance, and completely understand why people would want to do that. So it's not to say one way or the other, like this is our member decision. And also just to reassure everyone, not that there would be any issues if it wasn't secret, but it is completely secret voting, and you can check out Election Runner just for confirmation of that. All we know who has voted. So we know if you voted, we don't know how you voted in any decisions. Any questions at this stage? I am going to talk through next at a kind of a national level, but is there any questions or any comments that anyone wants to kind of add? Okay. I'm going to talk what this means.
Sorry, James,
Go for it, Don.
I just had a text message come through where Paige would like to know where she finds her ID and her key to vote. Will that be in the email that she sent?
It will be. Was that Paige, was it?
Yeah.
Just because I have a bit of a mental memory for things, I'm not sure if she's a member, because I think she may be. If she's a member,
So Katarina would be a member,
but she's
so
under
Katarina is
16.
not eligible to vote.
Correct.
Okay.
So,
All right. I will send her.
Okay, so what does this mean in the UK? So in the UK, we have two fantastic organisations on both sides of the spectrum, British Old School Sports, Pentathlon GB, and we've been working together since actually since before 2024, but we signed a strategic alliance in 2024, which covered the areas that we would work together on. So event support, and this is primarily supporting Pentathlon GB and their new sprint format, but equally Pentathlon GB supported our first youth championships with two obstacles, and that was free of charge. Promoting each other's events, especially in that sprint area, youth pathways. We know we will be better working together to grow our sport, and if we can create a larger pathway of athletes that can potentially go on to the Olympics through modern pentathlon or go to compete at an international level in OCR Ninja, we are more for this for our, together as a group. So that's something we've started to look at. We're starting to form a pathway working group in this area with Pentathlon GB. How we support facility development and adaptive athletes. We've got a lot of crossover adaptive athletes, either taking part in OCR or Ninja or through into tetrathlon at a pentathlon GB perspective. The other important thing that we did in this alliance is we said we know this thing's happening at an international level. We are not going to we're not going to engage in what this looks like at a national level now because in a year, 2 years, it could all change. There could be a fallout at an international level, and we've gone down a road that doesn't make sense now. So, what we put in place in the strategic alliance was a mechanism should there be an international integration. So, if this vote goes through, both from our perspective, but also, as you should add, that we are going to be one vote at the International Congress. But if the International Congress vote goes through and the international integration is happening, this mechanism will be started essentially, and it means that three members of our board and three members of the Pentathlon GB board will come together to assess the merits of integration and what that might look like in the UK. And we approach that with a really open mind, and we approach it both probably Pentathlon GB will do the same. What is in the best interests of our sports? And there's various options we could go, and I'll touch on that in the next slide. Nothing is predetermined, and actually, we've not, for the reason we mentioned here, that we were effectively parking this discussion. We've not really investigated the different models. So there's kind of four options probably that we could go down. And again, this is just really kind of starting point, ground zero of looking at where we might go in the future. And we'll approach this with an open mind, with consultation from our members, consultation from the funders. So Pentathlon GB is funded. We're not yet, but that's something we would like to in the future. So option number one, everything stays the same, and we exist as independent national federations, and I'm sure continue to work together as our strategic alliance highlights. Option number two is, and this is already set up in some countries, that you have an umbrella multi-sport national federation that coordinates international discussions, but then both NGBs continue independently in the UK. You have another option that Pentathlon GB does retain that NGB status, and we become an association. An example could be the Fell Running Association or Trail Running Association that feeds into UK athletics or England athletics, one of the two. And then a final option is there's a full merger. Now, all of these have pros and cons. Uh, our focus is on developing and growing the sport of OCR and Ninja, the sports of OCR and Ninja in the UK. Pentathlon GB's priorities are one, the Olympics. That's where the majority of their funding comes from. So they're going to be looking through that lens of kind of how they ensure they get more Olympic medals ultimately and the success at an Olympic kind of level, and then also from a participation point of view as well. So hopefully that kind of gives you an overview of the discussion. What we will share is we will be really open, and we will try and conclude kind of initial conversations relatively quickly this year. I think uncertainty is never good. So we would want to bring that kind of clarity. But again, it's an open mind, but it's what's in the best interests of our sport. And I feel really like glad that we've built such a strong organization in British obstacle sports that we can look through that lens. And some countries there isn't really an OCR federation, or the actual flip side, there isn't really a pentathlon federation, and it makes that kind of discussion pretty obvious in terms of what the next step is. Any questions at national level?
We have a couple from the previous section. I think just processing the thoughts. So if we could rewind to the International Federation, James.
No problem.
Two questions. The first one is, what are the other sports, that factor into modern pentathlon? Are they part of UIPM, or how is that different?
That connect to fencing and
yeah.
So I guess you could argue that laser run laser run formed from running and shooting. So previously there was full-on shooting within UIPM, and they moved to shooting lasers around the turn of the century. So they developed effectively, while that's part of the modern pentathlon, the five sports, the laser run is also a standalone sport now, and they have laser run world championships. So that is fencing, swimming. I guess you could argue that running really isn't. It's really fencing and swimming are the other two elements that are standalone. They don't. They have collaborations. I know at a national level there's collaborations. The one thing to factor in here is those sports were already in existence and developed when modern pentathlon was created effectively. So the governing bodies predate modern pentathlon. Whereas in our situation, modern pentathlon has been around for over 100 years. We are the new sport coming into a larger sport within modern pentathlon, within UIPM, I should say, within the UIPM multi-sport family.
It's specific to the needs, I suppose. And if you look in the Congress book, there is a sort of an outline of how the Obstacle Commission fits in, isn't there, as well? And then second question, has there been any discussion around proportional representation based on membership size rather than one vote per national federation? I think you mean in the International Federation.
Yeah, no, good question. No is the short answer. While international federations, some do have different voting models. The kind of standard model is one federation, one vote. And it would, once articles and voting is established, it would take a change in the constitution of World Obstacle to change that vote. So that it will be one member, one vote on this in this instance. And I think once a system's established, if there are a lot of smaller nations, it's quite hard to change it essentially, because the smaller federations have to vote to have less power. So yeah, it's interesting in that regard.
Yeah, James, it's Tim. I'd asked the question, and yeah, it's more around the future looking with if obstacle sport does have its own subsection, however it fits within UIPM, can there be an equitable model rather than this kind of biased situation that we found ourselves with World Obstacle, where you hear, from some of the stuff that Alan's research found, that there's our vote with hundreds of members is equal to some of the others where there's maybe one or two active members, and it just seems inherently unfair.
Yeah. No, it's a good question. I think, and that's part of every international federation has challenges, right? And I'm not here saying if this goes ahead, UIPM is going to solve all our problems. There's going to be new challenges, right? New risks that we're going to have to manage at an international level. But what I would say is the governance processes are like a significant step up from where we are today. it was because I was interim CEO at the time of Pentathlon GB, so I was at their last Congress. It was secret voting. It was a really professional setup. You knew exactly what was being voted on. So from that regard, while there are actually still the same challenges at a voting level because it is one one country, one vote, or one federation, one vote, um, there is a lot more governance in place. The other thing I would say from a commission perspective, a lot of stuff, but the day to day happens outside of the voting side, and a lot of the votes take the recommendation of the executive board, which would get its input from the obstacle commission. So while there is some risk that the Congress would vote down, for example, the documentation of obstacle sports rules, I'm pretty confident that the agreement of the executive board, this has been recommended by the obstacle commission, everyone vote, it would get voted through. Where there was things voted through, there was two votes last time that didn't get voted through first time, and one was related to swimming rules, and it was significant changes in the swimming rules, and the Pentathlon Federation didn't vote in favour. And the second was actually whether to adopt obstacle sports into the constitution. It did in the second vote get voted through because there was a small change and there was some communication around that. And that was quite rare. It was quite a shock. So I think that's the important thing for the obstacle commission is to feed the information into the executive board and then that to be voted through. But we will still have that challenge of there'll be smaller national federations that will have an extended influence.
Yeah, thank you.
Was there any other questions in the? I don't know, Becky, or if any other board wanted to kind of share thoughts and comments just before we close on resolution 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of information to access. I would definitely take a look at, previously we asked for information on how the integration would look, and that is provided. There's 10 kind of steps outlined there. So if you remember that you think there's just been loads of words, I'm not sure what we asked for. Maybe start with those 10 kind of the principles of integration. Hopefully they should in kind of give you that detail that you need in order to be able to make a decision. And if it's still unclear, then the recommendation from the board is the next step. And I think the first point on there is key. It's not because we need to do it for these reasons, it's because it is a good decision. I think Ben.
And Ben, you're going to be formally announced shortly, but maybe just to introduce yourself and kind of share your comments as well.
Sorry, causing trouble as usual. Hi everyone, I'm Ben Hollis. I joined the board in the autumn. I just wanted to add a voice to reassure members who I'm sure this is a huge passion part of your job. Some of it might be your life, your work as well, but I entered this discussion and debate with James and the rest of the board with a healthy dose of skepticism, I would say. And I know the world of pentathlon, I know the British Federation and some of the international federation well. I live down the road from Bath by chance, where much of it's based. I just want to reassure everyone we have had a kind of healthy dose of debate and challenge at both board and in other forums, which hopefully will give you some reassurance that in order to reach our recommendation from a board, fully clear it's your right to vote however you want here. We've put it through the ringer beforehand. I think James is right. It's not just the least worst option. There are benefits as well. It's just that some of those are going to take some time to work through, and we'll have to navigate it together. But yeah, just wanted to as I'm here, I thought I may as well say something.
Thanks, Ben. Okay. We will close for any final questions or comments on resolution 2. And it looks like we have about 25 minutes left of voting. So if you haven't voted yet, please do. It does make a difference when the more people that vote, the better ultimately. we will close resolution 2 then. Thank you, everyone. Yes, Ben. Yeah, so appointment. So we as a board can appoint non-executive directors, independent non-executive directors. So we've been really fortunate to appoint two, and we formally announce it at an AGM or an EGM. So Ben has already introduced himself. So Ben joined in November last year. Ben is at UK Sport and real strong understanding of the sporting sector. Uh, Also has done a few obstacle races in his time as well, so knows the sport, and I'm trying to get into a few more. So really, really great to welcome Ben. And then I think I saw Lide come back in. I think she might have dropped off. We've got Lide Youssef, who
Yeah.
has joined really recently in January. We were putting out a search for new non-execs, and we knew that finance was an area that while we had knowledge within the board, we didn't really have that real expertise from a finance perspective. So yeah, we've met Lide a few times, quite a few times in the interview process, and we're really impressed. And again, another great addition to the board. So um, maybe Ben, I don't know if there's anything else you want to say. Otherwise, I'll pass maybe to Lide to introduce herself after.
Nothing in particular. Thank you very much for having me. Really pleased to be involved in this discussion so far and hoping to really drive the sport forward. As Jane mentioned, I didn't do the winter Tough Mudder, but I did. Sorry, Tough Guy. I did one of the earlier summer ones and been involved in a range of races as well since then. So particularly on the obstacle stuff. Although my kids do get me chasing them around the ninja course now and again as well. Yeah, looking forward to getting to know the sport better and really hoping to drive the federation as a board role. Brilliant to be here.
Thanks, Ben. And do we have Lide on? I think I heard it.
I'm here.
Hey,
Hello,
Lide.
everyone. So I guess as James mentioned, so I'm kind of here in I guess I'd say kind of finance capacity. So I've worked in finance for the last 20 years or so, and I've kind of been a strategic partner to boards. And so I guess I'm here to help with the finances essentially. I'm very happy to be on board.
Oh, thank you. No, thank you both for giving up your time. And as I say, like I always think that volunteers that give up their time in the sport's one thing. Then we've got people from outside the sport giving up their time. It's a real privilege, and I think also a testament to all the hard work everyone's doing as well. That Ben and Lide are looking at anything and actually look how we can move the sport forward, and this is quite exciting for the future as well. So no, thank you, Ben and Lide. So honorary life members shall be those persons who, in the opinion of the board, want recognition for their services to the sport and recreation of obstacle sports. So I'm not sure if he's here today, which is a shame. He may be. He may be. I was trying to get him on, and it's hard to. But because he did step down and resigned last year just due to work commitments. But I think we couldn't not formally kind of confirm the recognition of Honour Ivara as honorary life member of British Obstacle Sports. Now, not everyone will know Honour. He's again someone from outside of the sport that stepped in, but without Honour, we wouldn't be here today. Like Honour, following a discussion with Ian Abson in 2019, he helped establish the organisation. At the time, it was known as UK Obstacle Sports Federation. Actually, it's our legal name today. And he came in from outside the OCR community, as I said. He brought an independent perspective and a great deal of dedication to help bring the community together and re-establish a national federation. Anyone that is from 2014, 2015, 2016 in the sport will know there was a national federation back then. There was a couple of incarnations of a national governing body. They didn't end well, and it left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths, and it was hard to get the federation going again. And Honor did a great deal to support that. Been a real value to the board, and he was chair of the board from 2019 to 2022 as well. And he was on the board ever since after. Really kind of critical thought and kind of gave guidance, strong guidance in the board, crucial role in overseeing the organisation's finances as well. Really important and a real partner to me when I was chair and supporting the kind of financial processes, which is always incredibly important for an organization. Yeah, 6 years of commitment as a volunteer. Again, someone doing that from outside the sport. I think we should all be really, really grateful to Honor's contribution. So yeah, a recognition of his contribution to British obstacle sports, and following his decision to step down from the board, we are proud to recognise Honor Ivara as a life member of British obstacle sports. So I will share this with him, and unless he is on the call, but I don't think he is.
He should be on, I think.
Oh,
I'm here.
oh, Honor, amazing!
I just
Oh, so glad you're able to join.
let me just
Uh,
stop the
well,
video.
thank
There
you,
you
Honor.
go.
No,
There
no,
you go.
seriously. Oh, I feel like more like the heart is going now because I'm so
Lovely to
glad
see
you're
you
here because I
guys.
wanted to say it to you. No, honestly, we shouldn't underestimate what you've done for British obstacle sports and the 6 years of contribution. It's been a massive time commitment, I know.
Well,
And,
thank you for the recognition, but I think the real work has been done by the community. So I just want to say thank you very much to all of you for the great work you've done. So such a great moment to see everyone here and doing voluntarily for the community of the British obstacle sport. So it's truly inspiring to see how the community has come together. Like very inspiring. And thank you for the recognition.
oh no, you're welcome. And now you're a life member. We can't get rid of us either. So we'll be bringing you
Well,
back
I'm
every
I'm
now and
still
again.
here, whatever I can do, but I've got loads of other things going on, so I won't be able to kind of sit on the board
No, I understand.
doing nothing. So, but yeah, because you guys do an amazing job.
No, fantastic. And we do have, I do have a little certificate framing your life membership that I'll make sure I present to you when I see you. And, I'm in Ireland today, so I would have it, and I'd be like, there we
Thank
go.
you.
No,
Oh,
thank you very
Asha
much.
has got already.
Oh, she shared it. Yeah, might have to say hello so everyone can see Harsha.
That's amazing. Thank you, Asha. Thank you.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you very much, Honor, again for all your
Thank you.
contribution.
Pleasure. Pleasure.
And you join an elite crew. Is our 7 life members, and it is really hard to give out these awards as a board. We don't give them out kind of easily, and no, it's there's so many more people that probably are on this kind of area, and it's just yeah. So credit to all the group on here. I know a number of you are on the call this evening as well, and we look forward to awarding more in the future, just to recognise those who are giving so much to the sport as well.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, Honor. Um, Adjournment. So that's the official business. Thank you for people for joining. We've got a few updates to give, but if you did need to jump out, well, we'd love you to hear them. This is a good time to step away. But we're gonna go through a few updates from the team. I think I've got a couple of updates, and then we will hand over to some of the team members. So recognition. Oh, we are pushing this. We are pushing to get this confirmed. We submitted in April, and we're almost a year on. We know that this isn't uncommon. Spoken to a few sports, and tag rugby example was 2 years before they got recognition. So it's still in the pot, and we we're flagging, and we're going to give another update after our Congress on March 15th. But what I did, as I mentioned earlier, we went through a process earlier in the year to confirm that the international discussions wouldn't impact our recognition application. And we had joint letter from Pentathlon GB, British Obstacle Sports, and then also from UIPM on World Obstacle, and we sent those over. And Sport England, who managed the application on behalf of all the sports councils, came back and said that our recognition application isn't impacted and they will continue the processes. So we will keep you updated, and we're hoping that this will be concluded this year from a recognition perspective. My next match, I think people will know that that's currently down. I think it is likely that we will look at a platform to get those membership cards active in the future. So Stay tuned. If anyone's looking for a discount right now, please just email membership@britishobstacle.org or info@britishobstacle.org. We'll make sure you have access to those. I think this is my last slide and I can stop talking. We've got an incredible number of leagues available in the UK. And just wanted to mention all the hard work getting those going again this year. Thank you to Julie Botwood on the social kind of media side. And again, another volunteer who's put a load of effort in this year to really communicate all these great things that are happening. So you'll go on to our social channels, you'll be able to see when all these leagues have events and things like that. And no, I think it's just go out and go compete effectively and go and have some fun. And if you're not competitive, Wendy will talk about Weekend Warrior, and you can all just get out and have fun around the course as well. But we've got a lot of competitive options available to you. And with that, I will hand over to Dawn for a bit of an update.
Thanks, James. So yeah, as you all know, I'm Dawn. I look after the Youth Development and Safeguarding Committee. Firstly, I want to just reiterate a huge thank you to Joe, who has been an absolute stalwart and a fundamental part of the committee in terms of safeguarding. Unfortunately, we do lose her going forward, but she's been instrumental in assisting getting many of our policies written and updated, which was a hugely important factor in our application. So a massive thank you to Joe for that. So that does leave a hole. We will be looking for a new safeguarding lead. There'll be a sort of a role description out, published relatively shortly. But if you do have expertise in that area and you would like to get involved, please do email youth@britishobstacle.org, and we'd love to talk to you if you think you can help. From a youth perspective, we've been working with a lot of the leagues to just get alignment in terms of the ages so that we've got a good pathway of competition coming through for the youth athletes. So that's ensuring that 10 to 13-year-olds have got somewhere to race, and that the 14-year-olds, as they're integrated into the adult competitions, are doing so in a safe and an appropriate manner. And we'll continue to do that going forward for the rest of the year, and then also looking into 2027 and seeing the pathways that we can integrate there too. So that's kind of it from the youth committee perspective.
Thank you. The only thing I was going to say on here, Dawn, other than just to thank you for all your work as well, was just to say if there are any safeguarding issues, do feel free to contact Jo. She's still a volunteer within British Obstacle Sports. Equally, you've got Tim Crangle, Wendy Brothers, and also myself that are kind of named on the safeguarding policy, so you can reach out to us as well. But yeah, we are going to work through having someone else named on there in the near future. Thank you.
Now we go on to the British Champs. Really exciting. We have got 5 amazing championships, and it's great to see these championships actually grow year on year. I think when we started, we had something like 1 or 2 championships a year, and each year it's grown. And they're coming better and better. So first one coming up is a 3K Champs hosted by Tartan Warrior. That was an amazing event last year. So it's really exciting to see that back in Scotland. And I know Gavin's got lots of amazing obstacles planned, huge investments up there. So that's going to be a brilliant competition and a brilliant championships. We then go to the 12K Champs on May the 9th, hosted by Nuclear Races and race directed by Dave Peters. Again, a brilliant championships last year, and I think everybody's quite excited to see what Dave has in store for us for 2026. New to the championships, we kind of had a sort of a championships last year at the PT Barn with the 400 meters, but really putting some focus into it this year, with it being a new recognized world championship distance. It was really important to have a formalized 400-meter championships on our calendar. Scotty has such a great setup at the PT Barn with a lot of varied obstacles. He put on a really, really good competition last year. So again, excited to see how that develops into head-to-head racing this year. And should see some really, really exciting competition there. 26th of September sees us go back to Spartan at Pippenford for the Ultra Championships. And this was super exciting this year. You know, we saw some really good racing in 2025. Saw some unknowns. You know, Shyla dipped into the endurance and absolutely put the hammer down. So it'll be exciting to see if we see her back for 2026. As well as lots of other people taking on that championship as part of the Endurance League. And then October will see us return to Storm for the Youth Championships. This will be our 4th Youth Championships for British Obstacle Sports. Is it our 5th?
Yeah.
British Obstacle Sports. And really hoping that actually the weather gods are slightly on the kids' favour. We were talking about this a few days ago, and I think they've had nothing short of a hurricane on every year. So 2026 needs to be the year that actually the kids maybe get a little bit of sunshine. But back down at Storm, again, another good event and another great race director in Dave Peters, making sure that the kids are racing safely. So if you haven't got these dates locked in your diary, get them locked in. We're gonna get some good social media activity around them. Julia's working hard to get lots of content out. So yeah, get the dates locked in your diaries, and then if you haven't entered the first 2, get your entries in now, and then the next 3 entries should open very shortly.
Thank you. And just one more thing to add to this, and no promises, but we are really, really trying to get a 100-meter championship this year. And that will be a full championship course. As I say, no promise, but we are more likely than we're not likely on that front. So, and that will be before August if we are to do it.
Another biggie, national team. Wow. So 2024, 2025 were huge, and I'm super, super grateful to be back again looking after the national team. It's a labor of love, but it gets easier actually each year because I get a little bit more experience and a little bit more knowledgeable. We have got for 2026 123 athletes over the age of 18 registered as part of the national, or selected as part of the national team, and 6 of those are adaptive athletes. So our adaptive athletes are growing in numbers as well, which is absolutely amazing and testament to the support that Jamie puts in to developing that side of things. And equally as important, but also equally growing, we've got 48 athletes between the ages of 10 to 18 coming forward, which is absolutely amazing to see. And it's great to see that the youth are sort of coming through. And some of those youth athletes are actually, you know, potentially our elite athletes of the future. They're amazing. So what have we got lined up? First event, we've got the OCR European Championships, which is in Spain in Iron, 28th to the 31st of May. It's going to be a split event in terms of its location. So the 100 meters is going to be in the town. So very, very similar vibe to Havar, I think. They're not unaccustomed to having events in the town in Iron. So I think the local community are going to be well versed in what happens. So there should be lots of support, lots of hype. And then the standard team and short courses are going to be literally an 8-minute walk away at the football stadium. So that's going to be really exciting. I think we should start, hopefully, I think we've got drip feeds of clues of obstacles coming out. We had an email that came out a couple of days ago saying some of the race organisers are going to be used. Get yourself on social media, get yourself on Instagram, start following those races, and you'll be able to kind of get a bit of a flavour for what might be in store for us. Then in July, we go over to the beautiful city of Mantova for the 400-meter championships. It's going to be fast, it's going to be furious, and it's going to be really, really exciting. And it's a good halfway house. You know, if you love 100 meters but you don't want to run 3K, 400 meters is it's the absolute place to go. And that again looks like it's going to have a really, really exciting vibe around to it. Then we move to the big one, the World Championships in Limerick in Ireland between the 7th and the 9th of August. Slightly different format. So we've got an event village, or an athlete village, which is at the university, which is going to provide almost like a home feel. So all the athletes are going to be there. There's going to be places to go and eat, places to socialize, different after sort of events going on as well. And then all of the races are going to be down at the race course. The racecourse is huge. I think the team have been there today. I've seen some snippets on some social media accounts of videos that are being done. So we're going to have the 100 meters there, the 400 meters, the short, standard, and team events are all going to take part at this racecourse. There's going to be lots of places to view, lots of places for spectators to watch. And I'd say, having been to racecourses before and having done some equestrian stuff with my daughter, get out and do lots of cross-country running, because that grass is going to be quite bouncy and it's going to be quite hard to run on. So I'd say, in terms of your training, get out and do lots of cross-country running on some nice springy, turfy, nuclear type grass, because I think that's what you're going to need for your course preparations. Any questions related to the national team, please join the WhatsApp groups, or you can email nationalteam@britishobstacle.org, or you can reach out to me directly. Most people have got my phone number, and I will do anything I can to help you.
Thank you, Dawn. And no, thank you again for all the work you do. No, it's massively appreciated by all of us. And just to kind of mention on this shot, so where you're looking now, that's all where the 100-meter course will be. There will be some level of, we don't know the 100% the solution yet, but there will be something that won't be, so you won't be run on the grass essentially. But I think what Dawn is mentioning is a good note of consideration from a training perspective, because it is quite cross-country-esque. Although they will plan to roll the course effectively, and also you're not in this area. For this may be like 2 or 3 kilometers. You actually head out into the wider area as well. And on the left you can see the grandstand as well. Plenty of places to sit, and you do get a real good view of the whole venue. It's quite impressive. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And undulating, not massive hills, but there's some ups and downs. So I think it's definitely not going to be mountainous, but at the same time it's going to tire you out as well on the short and standard course. Thank you, Dawn. And we're going to pass to Laura for a quick update. So Laura manages our Ninja national team, which we had our first athlete selected last year for our European champs.
Yes, thanks, James. After the success from last year when we went to the Ninja European Championships in Poland, we've got another one this year that's going to be in Paizen in the Czech Republic. We don't have much information at the moment, but if you are interested, please contact me directly, or we have the GB Ninja team at britishobstaclesports.org email. Drop us a message, and as soon as we know anything, we'll get information out on the channels for everybody.
Amazing. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks.
We have an update from Wendy.
Good evening. Yes, so thank you all for me being here. So the update on the community committee, we've had a few things going on this year. First of all, the volunteer training courses provided by Mike Moussard and Wayne King have been going on this year, and we've had quite a few people who have trained for a level 1 volunteer pre-TO. So that has been really helpful. Thank you to Mike and to Wayne. The Weekend Warrior Awards for 2025 are now being finalised, and those will be sent out very shortly. And soon we'll be sending out the publicity for 2026. Weekend Warriors are very much for everybody. They're very inclusive. There is a list of venues and training centres, races, which count towards the award. And the idea is to go to a variety of different events, different training centres, represent OCR in a variety of ways, and therefore a award for participation. And this can be as a TO, as a marshal, as well as an athlete. The British Obstacle Sports stand has been growing steadily, and we had some very good weekends in 2025. We really want to build on that and be more successful in 2026. And to enable that, we need particularly stand leaders. That would be really helpful. And registration at Spartan events, if we can have people who can volunteer for a very early start to assist with BOSS registration prior to Spartan events, that is something we always need. And obviously stand volunteers in general. The stand is really good for promoting OCR to new people, but also to support our current membership. And the final main purpose of the committee is that members can raise concerns anonymously if necessary, and we can bring them to the committee and then they can be forwarded on to the board if appropriate. It is a good way if people have concerns. It's another way of contacting BOSS and hopefully resolving issues. And that is our update for Community Committee.
Thank you, Wendy. Yes, and just to reiterate, if people would like to help kind of lead a stand, it really does help, because we quite often will get volunteers, but then without someone leading that day, even if they're doing a race for an hour or so, we can't really run it because we need that coordination. So we've got a few people that offer. We had like Lindsay Young, for example, who did amazing kind of stand lead, and then she went to Australia to have fun out there. So it's like a big miss when we lose people like that. So if anyone's keen just to volunteer time, that's massively appreciated, so we can get the word out there. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
And then I just wanted to say, become a technical official. We've got an incredible amount, considering we're around 1,200 members. We've got, I think, almost getting on for 200 technical officials. So it's a good group to be a part of, even if you just officiate one time a year rather than every event. We've got some officials that are regulars, and you'll see them at every event, but equally, why not just do one day or one afternoon officiating, depending on the event. Our next course is on March 23rd. We do charge £12.50 for the course. You do get one of those awesome highlighter blue British Obstacle Sports bibs that is yours to keep at your first event. And we would love to welcome you to the course. Joe Dawson-Cox, who runs the course, does an amazing job on running that, and it's really informative and helpful, even just from seeing it through an athlete's perspective as well. I'm not sure if Joe's on, if you want to add anything. Otherwise, I will move on to the next slide, which is just a Q&A. Does anyone have any questions? Or we've got a number of other volunteers on here as well. If you wanted to share something, feel free. I might just stop sharing for a second, just so I can get the vote information. We need someone to fill the time while I'm looking. So I might lean on Becky to. That's my go-to, and I need someone to speak. What are we thinking, Becky?
Well, I mean, do people have their calendars sorted? I think that's the hardest thing. I have actually got. I have this. Top secret. That's my wrist. I find that's a really useful way to schedule your training. Sometimes I do need to put it in my work calendar though. But yeah, there's been some comments about how many different leagues there are, and I know it's very appealing to do them all at once. I certainly still struggle with wanting to do the 3K, the 400. I think I've just about decided not to do the 100, given my experiences last year and my injury. But yes, I think it's difficult to kind of dedicate yourself in all the ways that you perhaps want to. So this has been really useful, especially some of those key dates that Dawn shared. So if you wanted to just write them down in the chat, Dawn, just in case anyone found that easier to reference right now, they could maybe open their calendars and add some as a pencil them in for the championship events. I know sometimes, if you're less used to racing competitively, sometimes these kinds of discussions can sound like they talk about that quite a lot. So it absolutely don't have to do that. We also have open categories at a lot of those championship events if you want to experience the course but not run it in a competitive way. So I think that's a nice thing to kind of point out, that kind of brings those community committees and the competitive committees or groups of races together, which is pretty unique, I think, for our sport versus some of the other sports. And I do really like that we can foster that at these events.
Thanks, Becky. Yeah, no, agreed. And we are conscious as a group, as a board especially, that we need to do more on the non-competitive space. To be fair, our sport is 95% plus non-competitive. Like participation, not necessarily unique participation, but participation in the UK is over 200,000 people a year do our sport. Really, well, I'd say that could be doing more than one event, but arguably it's 150,000 plus. So it is already non-competitive, but we want to get that voice out there, get that word out there, and get more people interested. So that's definitely on our mind. I think it's been easier in the first years to structure the competitive side because that was missing, if we're honest. I feel like we've done a really good job there of structuring the competitive side, especially at an age group level. We'd love to see, we've got some incredible elite athletes, but we'd love to kind of attract more elite athletes into the sport and really be dominating on the international scene. But as I say, we've got a number of areas that we want to kind of approach in the future. One area is participation and just getting more people aware of our sport and more people raising their hand to kind of take part. Yeah, you've got 1 million plus kids going to Ninja Warrior parks. How do we get them more engaged and going to more and more centres? And seeing it as a sport as well that they can train for rather than just having a bit of fun, which is equally a great thing for them to do as well. I'm gonna reveal the vote. Don't normally do it live, but I thought as it was an EGM, we should do it. Now I need to share my screen. I'm just going to actually show you in the tool. I just feel it's a useful.
I think transparency is one of the things that we're keen on.
Yeah, and I think that's what you can rely on from us is we're in this together, and we certainly see that as a core value of being really open with the community. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see my screen. Great. So I've seen it, so I know the outcome now because I've just logged in before and then Becky was covering for me. So there is a slight variance to what you'll see here because abstentions don't count in the final percentage, but I'll show you a spreadsheet where I've calculated that for everyone. So results, the minutes were passed. I'm always surprised when someone votes no for minutes, but that's fine. But yes, for resolution 2 was voted through. There was 81%, 147 people voted yes, and 19 people voted no, 15 abstained. So we will double check these numbers, not this. This is the final outcome, but just I'll double check I've added it all into this tab correctly. But as you can see, the abstentions of the 181 don't count. So it's 98.79% voted for the minutes and 88.55% voted for the board to be authorised to vote in favour of the dissolution of Congress. So the next step from our perspective now is to take that vote to Congress. It's on Sunday this week. We are one of, I believe there will be about 60 national federations present who will vote, and 80% of those present need to vote in favour of dissolution. if that passes and there's 80% vote, then World Obstacle will dissolve on August 10th, and we'll need as an organisation then to be working with UIPM to ensure we're structured in terms of into UIPM from a constitution perspective. So maybe some updates to our constitution at the AGM, and then we will open that discussion with Pentathlon GB as I mentioned earlier. But no, thank you everyone for voting. It's really important that we have kind of everyone's input, and thank you for all the questions and for joining calls and things to understand kind of. We wanted to share as a board how we were coming to the decision and ensure kind of we had that community support. So we really appreciate everyone engaging in the process. And maybe we'll just pause for any final questions or comments. Otherwise, I can let you go on the rest of your evenings. Okay, thank you everyone, and a final thank you to everyone, and a final congratulations to Honor for his Life Member Award and for all his support. And we look forward to speaking to everyone soon, and we'll be sure to give an update after the weekend.
Thanks.
Thank you everyone. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, James.
Thank you.
James.
Bye.